3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, June 12th, 2018. I'm not a happy camper right now. Not because Litecoin's down at like $100 right now, but because I just had two botched attempts at going live. I wanted to talk to all of you in this down market. I wanted to get a sense of how you're feeling. I need support too. I need some love. And it just didn't work. My internet, I don't know what's going on. I have to call Verizon. I just tested my download speeds and they're a joke. So I really just apologize. I could, right now, I feel like it might still be streaming live. I don't even know, but apparently I was frozen on the screen. But I'm going to jump into two scenarios, a down market, a bear market scenario, and a very real bounce for a continued uptrend. They're very real scenarios. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Absolutely nobody in this world right now knows what's going to happen. But let's start with the bearish scenario. So in the bearish scenario, I want to use, for good context, Bitcoin, the bear market back in 2014 into 2015. Really simple to kind of follow, and it just updated my charts. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. So if you want to follow a pattern of what this momentum down would continue to look like, it's perfect because we can go back to 2014, the end of 2014 into 2015. So we have the 50 EMA for the first time crossing the 200 EMA, the blue line crossing the red line, the pink line. That's the first cross we have right there. And then we kind of had some momentum back up, and then we went back down. We had the 50 EMA crossing below the 200 EMA. It's never a good sign, in case you're not aware of this happening in any cryptocurrency, any trading market. So it crossed, and around a month later, what happened is we tested and broke this second bottom support in Bitcoin. So we tested and broke it. We had a bounce back up, but we tested it and broke it again. And then we kind of trickled down and we continued this downtrend. There was no upward buying pressure. The bulls were not in town. So right now, similar to that is Bitcoin. Again, we have this first cross. Let me get my brush. We have this first cross, upward momentum, second cross, and a month later, we're testing right now the second bottom on Bitcoin. So, and there's a little bug flying. Today's June 12th, market down. Not a very good day. Okay, so month later, back in the bear market, we tested it and broke it. And month later, after the second cross, right now we're testing it. We haven't broken it. And right now we even have a daily green candle. You can't really see it. But let me get rid of this line. We do have a daily green candle forming very slowly. And I even tweeted earlier about Bitcoin. Let's see if technical support for Bitcoin holds. That was 7 hours ago, and since then it's held. We were trading at 6491. The support I had was around 6449. So right now, Bitcoin trading at 6561. So far it's held. But if we break, and it's a very real scenario, if we break, it's just not going to be a good indicator for cryptocurrency in general right now. And this is partly why I'm on the sidelines right now in terms of accumulation and buying, because if it breaks, obviously there's going to be a ton of opportunity down here. And it's something I personally am waiting for. I'm happy with my position right now. I'm just chilling. I'm hanging out. So this is me. Wanted to throw that out there. So speaking to that with Bitcoin going down back in that bear market, I want to just throw out there when Litecoin went down with it around that same time. So that was around the end of September. That's a month after that second cross happened with Bitcoin and the downward trend continued. Litecoin continued down and actually touched 77% from that time. And it was around a year long to hit this bottom. So let's just take that and use it as one option of what could potentially happen right now. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is how I make my decisions. So this is how I'm going to do this video, which is to say you always look at the upside, you always look at the downside, and you make a decision with what you're comfortable with. It's that simple. This isn't rocket science. We're not trying to predict what's going to happen. So let's say we're a month later after that second cross with Bitcoin. Let's say support breaks, the whole market starts going down, and it's a year-long down market, and Litecoin still has 77% to go. This is a worst case scenario. This is how I make my decisions. I look at best case scenario, worst case scenario, and then I make my decision. So 77%, that's a $22 Litecoin. So what would I want to do? How do I want to make my decisions comfortably, risk-wise, investment-wise? If that happened, I'm going to use that scenario in my decision-making process. Let's talk about the upside now. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the downside or the upside, but that's a downside. Now the upside is, let's start with Bitcoin. We have a pretty classic looking triple bottom in play right now. And it's going to be a pretty critical week. We could trade sideways similar to what we did here. We really could. But in trading sideways, what we want to watch for is supports in terms of where we are in this triple bottom. Because if support holds, that's going to be a little bit of a different scenario than back in 2014, and the chart isn't loading correctly because my internet is terrible right now for some reason. But it's going to be a different scenario than when we broke support in Bitcoin. So let's look to see if we can hold support where we are right now. I mean, I could upload this video and we can break it tonight. I don't know, but best case scenario, we bounce, obviously. So what would a bounce look like? Well, in terms of Bitcoin, a bounce on this triple bottom would look like a nice leg up in terms of bouncing off the support, approaching this trend line. And you can see this trend line has perfect confluence really with the 50 and the 200. So in telling that story of a really solid bounce, you'd see this 50 start leveling out and even turning back up, which would be completely different than what happened in 2014, 2015. So that's on the upside, something to look out for. Similar to that, Litecoin needing to hold support where it is, because in this trend line, we really are close to where we need to hold support. Not only that, this $100 is really kind of a mental support area, and I really don't want to see it turn into a resistance area, because this channel I have outlined below is really the channel that we'd be watching in the next round of videos if we break where we are in support right now. So I know I'm throwing a lot at you, so let's keep talking about that bullish scenario of a bounce of Bitcoin, a bounce of Litecoin at this bottom trend line would look like an approach. Same thing with Bitcoin, back up to the 200, the 50 EMA. It would have the 50 EMA leveling out for a possible cross back above the 200, breaking this trend line and starting to watch this trend line as support as opposed to resistance. That's the bullish scenario, and it's very possible. I mean, this is like a 50-50 thing right now. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what I think is going to happen. I can tell you I'm sitting on the sidelines right now comfortably, and that's my play. What's your play? You have to find in these scenarios, worst case, best case, what you're comfortable with. Don't try and time things. Unless you want to be risky, unless you're just like, hey, I have no problem throwing money around and losing money trying to trade, trying to catch the bottom. If you're that type of person, go for it. But that's what you're comfortable with, and that's cool. So I'm an accumulator. I like accumulating. But right now, with where the market is, I'm not so sure this is the best time to accumulate. It might be down here somewhere. So I'm waiting and I'm seeing. I'm really hoping we just kind of bounce and go back up. So right now we're at $100. Who knows what's going to happen? There's a lot going on. I can tell you one thing in terms of this. I did a video the other day on the stock RSI. It was up, I think up around here at the top towards overbought. I said we need to come back down to oversold. Well, we're there. So now's the time, Litecoin. If you're going to do something, please do. But one thing to look for if we start turning around a little bit is resistance at this 20 line on the, let me move that up a little bit, the 20 line on the stock RSI, as well as resistance at the 40 line on the RSI. Some things to look out for. Let's look for momentum. Let's look for volume. Those are key things to help us kind of get going in the right direction again. I just want to do a video and talk to you all tonight. I know you're all wondering what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking? Because I'm wondering the same thing. I just sit here and do videos and talk to you. But I really enjoy reading through your comments. I really appreciate all of you coming by. Tomorrow I'm going to pick the winner for one of these LED lights for the Litecoin logo LED. And appreciate all of you that commented, that are subscribed. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of the channel. As always, I will see you in the next video, and God bless.